Hello, my name is Keith Fitzgerald, and if you are retired or nearing retirement, it is absolutely critical you pay very close attention to what I'm about to show you. On April 10th, 2017, the Department of Labor will execute a controversial plan. It's one that very few knew was within their power, and they're using an obscure clause buried in Title 29 of the U.S. Labor Code to pull it off. CNBC is warning that this will force major change on American retirement planning. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that it could cost American savers $80 billion. And time is running out to prepare for the aftermath. Very soon, millions of retirees and future retirees could become the victims of a nationwide blackout that's been orchestrated by none other than the federal government. Caught in the crosshairs is a unique class of investments. I call them 26F programs. They rose to prominence during the Great Depression, thanks to President Roosevelt's team that also created the FDIC and Social Security. 26F programs allow you to enroll with one small investment stake, and they give you the opportunity to earn an aggressive monthly income. We're talking potentially getting paid $2,000, $5,000, even more every single month. But they don't stop there. You can also collect huge lump sum payouts, 6 figures in one shot. And on top of that, there are 26F programs that operate as 100% legal tax havens. If you haven't heard of 26F programs, don't worry, you aren't alone. However, it's absolutely critical that you find out which ones you should enroll in now. I say that because this fast approaching retirement blackout may cause you to miss out on $68,000 or more a year. You see, for decades, 26F programs have been used by the wealthy to build nearly incomprehensible fortunes. You've probably heard of famed investor Peter Lynch. But when people talk about his impressive exploits, they rarely mention that he was also getting paid an estimated $3 million or more a year thanks to a 26F program. Warren Buffett is another beneficiary in the 26F programs. $1.1 billion worth of his company, Berkshire Hathaway, is now owned by them. Sir John Templeton unlocked the secrets of 26F programs as well. In fact, if you would have been able to invest alongside him, you could have transformed $10,000 into $2 million. And that's simply by reinvesting the enormous earnings. However, it's not just Wall Street elite who are reaping the rewards we're talking about today. Politicians on both sides of the aisle also take advantage of 26F programs. Donald Trump has at least $18.6 million in them. Mitt Romney had at least $12.8 million. John Boehner had $785,000. George W. Bush had $150,000. In his 2008 financial disclosure, I found Dick Cheney had $6 million in 26F programs. And recently unearthed tax documents show that even President Reagan also benefited from a 26F program. But you don't have to be a rich banker or a well-connected politician to take part in them, even though most Americans have no idea 26F programs exist. For those that do, the results can be truly life-changing. Take Helen and Jeff Barnes of Indianapolis, for example. Helen is a stay-at-home mom, Jeff is an attorney. They've steadily used 26F programs as an integral part of their investing strategy. Today, in their early 50s, they are worth upwards of $2 million. Or look at Terrance Morgan. When he posted his story online, I knew I had to share it. Listen to this. Terrance lives in Maryland. He's worked office jobs ever since college, putting a small part of each paycheck towards 26F programs. As he tells it, they've helped him achieve a net worth of slightly over $2 million. In about a year, he'll be living mortgage-free in his house. That's probably worth about $700,000. Namit Singh was born in India. After immigrating to the United States, he became a physical therapist. He also discovered a 26F program and incorporated it into his retirement plan. And what a lucky break that turned out to be, because he received a lump sum payment of $439,672. But that is not even the most exciting part. Namit will be collecting monthly income for the rest of his life, bringing his total haul to an estimated, get this, $5.3 million. Amazing, right? Interestingly enough, 26Fs are not government-run retirement programs. They aren't even traditional programs in any sense. Even better, they are not limited to retirees. In fact, Americans over the age of 18 can capitalize on them. So what are 26F programs? How do they work? And how can you take advantage of them? I'm going to give you all the details in just a few minutes. You're going to see how it's really easy. Some only require you to fill out a simple application form with your investment. Others can be done with just a few mouse clicks. You can even use your 401k or IRA. In fact, you can use any money you have lying around. I recommend you use whatever you can to take advantage of 26F programs because you could have made $68,870 by enrolling in just one 26F program last year. But as you're about to see, you could make much, much more too. Plus, most of these investments allow you to customize them to disperse cash every single month. These returns can be much bigger than your Social Security checks. $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 every month. Look at Darryl Klein. He quit his job as an engineer at the age of 50. Darryl had your usual retirement investments and saving plan, but he was also using 26F programs to supercharge his income. Darryl is now retired and living comfortably on $6,000 a month. Roy Nair used to work for a natural gas distributor in Missouri, but today he's retired as a millionaire. Like Darryl, Roy had his savings in a diversified investment portfolio, but he also went big on 26F programs. But he didn't have to invest big to do so. Roy was only kicking in $300 a month, yet it was key to his now 7-figure net worth. And the income he's receiving from 26F programs has helped give him complete financial freedom. Now, Roy likes to live frugally, but he also likes to splurge on at least 4 trips a year to places like Chile and Jamaica. These people are all living their dreams. Yet, come April 10th of 2017, the Department of Labor is going to make it very, very hard for others to join them. So why is the federal government issuing this blackout? I believe the answer can be found in Title 29 of the U.S. Labor Code. The wording is quite clear. The IRS wants to protect their ability to tax Americans. You see, besides creating large amounts of wealth quickly and allowing people to earn massive monthly income, you can actually use some 26F programs to deduct up to 50% of your adjusted gross income. In fact, some investors can legally pay no taxes at all on their 26F program profits. Make no mistake about it, this is not the first time 26F programs have come under fire. Back in the late 1980s, Congress was set to nix a tax loophole available to some 26F programs. But President Reagan himself stepped in. He considered tax relief so important that he wanted to make it permanent, even if it cost the Treasury $400 million a year. Now, fast forward to today. With the U.S. government blowing past the $19 trillion debt mark, it looks like they've targeted 26F programs. But there is some very good news. You can make an absolute fortune from 26F programs for the rest of your life. And there is nothing Uncle Sam can do to stop you. By taking one simple action today, you can get into 26F programs before the blackout. And you could set yourself up to make $68,870 or more, much more, every single year, while also being able to earn aggressive monthly income to help you live the retirement of your dreams, the retirement you deserve. And I'd like to help you achieve that. I've spent more than 34 years in the markets as an analyst, a consultant, and a quantitative trader. I cut my teeth at some of Wall Street's biggest firms, including Wilshire Associates, which oversees more than $8 trillion for over 600 institutional investors. There is almost nothing I haven't seen in the markets. And let me tell you something, 26F programs offer some of the best benefits of traditional investments all wrapped into one. This unconventional and fairly unknown class of securities is truly remarkable. They let you get a stake in some of the biggest and safest stocks around, as well as the hottest pre-IPO firms. Yet here's the thing, 26Fs are not managed by these companies. They operate independently. However, because of their sheer financial power, they can be granted all kinds of special perks, special pricing, special treatment. In a nutshell, 26F programs are like special deals that have been negotiated on behalf of investors. And they're designed so that they can potentially deliver gains that greatly outperform the stocks themselves. For instance, between January and June of 2016, the stock of energy titan BP rose a meager 2.78%. However, a 26F program associated with BP outperformed it by 184%. Let's take a look at Tesla, the electric car builder that is all the rage with celebrities. In 2015, the construction of Tesla's Gigafactory was in full swing. And at a cost of nearly $5 billion, Tesla needed a great deal of outside funding. It's a pretty good bet that 26F programs helped make that happen, and investors were handsomely rewarded. Between August and December of 2015, Tesla's stock rose 5.26%, and a 26F program backing Tesla did 228% better. Now let's jump back to 2013 and talk about PepsiCo. They make America's second favorite soda. But investors in a 26F program tied to PepsiCo probably thought their gains were second to none. You see, between April and November of 2013, PepsiCo's stock rose 3.07%. However, a 26F program funding PepsiCo beat it by 305%. Let's go back a little bit further and talk about IBM, quintessential American company. In the years following the recession, some companies recovered better than others. But from where I'm standing, IBM was not one of them. But that did not matter to 26F program investors. Between June of 2010 and December of 2015, IBM stock rose a respectable 11.45%. However, a 26F program associated with IBM outperformed it by 525%. Now, like any investment, there are risks involved. I'm going to talk about them ahead. But know this, with 26F programs, you are unequivocally avoiding the high risk of complicated investments like options, futures contracts, or even Forex. And there's another amazing benefit too. 26F programs can also get you behind the red velvet rope of private pre-IPO juggernauts. Consider Uber. In 2011, it was worth $60 million. Today, it's worth $68 billion. That's an astounding 113,233% growth in only 5 years. That'd be the equivalent of turning $500 into over $566,000. Imagine getting a piece of that action through a 26F program. Or imagine investing in Twitter back in 2008 when it was privately held. That was when it was valued at $104 million. Today, it's valued at over $11.4 billion. That's a 10,862% spike, and it would be the same thing as turning $500 into $54,808. And long before Twitter IPO'd, a 26F program gave fortunate Americans the chance to get a piece of the action. Today, there are 26F programs dialed into Snapchat. Its valuation is $20 billion. Pinterest, $11 billion. Dropbox, $10 billion. And even Airbnb, $30 billion. The valuations of these companies can explode sometimes in under a year. What that means is you don't have to invest in a 26F program in your 20s or your 30s, then wait around for decades to reap the rewards like you would in a 401k program. Take Dane Lavoie of San Diego, for example. For most of his life, Dane had a normal investment portfolio and a savings plan. In fact, he didn't enroll in a 26F program until he was in his 40s. But I bet you he thinks that's the best financial decision he's ever made because that 26F program played a major role in Dane saving nearly $1.4 million for retirement in only 8 years. Imagine having an extra $14,000 a month on average to spend as you choose. Well, Dane doesn't have to imagine that. Retired Army Major Joe McCord may not be a millionaire from his 26F programs yet, but he could be soon. During his military career, Major McCord earned a modest salary, but he and his wife steadily used 26F programs, starting with as little as $210 a month. By age 45, Major McCord was retired, and according to him, by the time he's 50, his net worth will be in the 7 figures. But there's still more. Since most 26F programs are run by big banks and financial institutions, they can provide instant liquidity. You never have to wait for a buyer. The issuer is legally obligated to buy it back from you for full price. And what full price means is not up for debate either. It's usually determined at the close of the market every day. There are even 26F programs that allow you to invest in the banks themselves. Between last February and August, PNC Bank stock barely had a pulse. It rose only an anemic 1.62%. However, a 26F program tied to PNC pummeled that return by 1,351%. Now, obviously 1,351% is an exceptional example, but consider the other 26F programs I've mentioned already. There is huge money in play here. And ahead, I'm going to show you how you can get into as many 26F programs as you like. In fact, I'm going to share some information regarding my top 10 picks, and you can enroll in them quickly. I recently clocked a first-time enrollee in a 26F program. He did it all through a standard retirement account, and it took him all of 97 seconds. Now, if you're thinking this sounds too good to be true, you're right. It does sound too good to be true. To understand why 26F programs exist as we know them today, we need to go back to 1933. In 1933, the Great Depression had left the country teetering on the verge of collapse. And shortly after he was sworn into the Oval Office, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt took extreme measures to stop the bleeding. He called some of the nation's smartest minds to the White House. They included Roosevelt's top legal expert, Benjamin Cohen, wealthy advisor Thomas Corcoran, and Harvard law professor James Landis. Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis would also play a major role. Together, this brain trust crafted some of the most important legislation in American history. Their work would become known as the Securities Act of 1933. It was a critical part of the New Deal, famous for the Social Security and FDIC insurance programs. However, to truly get America back on its feet, President Roosevelt needed to go one step further. He needed to get a lot of money flowing back into the stock market because there were plenty of businesses who would otherwise be on healthy footing. Only now, they were in danger of falling victim to a contagion of the Great Depression. But this money couldn't come directly from banks because nearly half of them had closed or had been taken over. It had to come from the wealthiest Americans. But how is FDR going to convince these people to put their money back into the market after the bedlam that had already unfolded? Hidden inside that pivotal 1933 legislation, FDR's brain trust laid the groundwork for the 26F program as we know it today. They are run by major financial institutions and banks. Different 26F programs are created for groups of companies, both public and private, and they can allow for cheaper buy-ins on certain companies, shares for 85 cents on the dollar on average, for example. Look at this as a form of arbitrage. You could instantly get $1 worth of equity for every 85 cents you put in. To me, that's an irresistible deal, and it's all done to attract capital. Back in the 1930s, if an investor wanted to provide funding, all they had to do was fill out a simple form to enroll, then decide how much capital they wanted to allocate at that moment. In no time whatsoever, the 26F program quietly became one of the greatest wealth building secrets Wall Street has ever seen. Today, the name Thomas Rowe Price is synonymous with the mutual funds and other investment funds the company he founded manages. Back in the 1950s, T. Rowe Price actually used a 26F program to help kickstart his empire that quickly grew to $17 billion. As the years passed, the major banks and financial institutions created some truly amazing 26F programs. For example, between last February and July, Altria's stock rose 11.27%. However, the 26F program associated with Altria beat that by 217%. Nike stock rose 2.52% over the same time period, but the 26F program associated with it pummeled that by 542%. Procter & Gamble stock rose 3.57%. The 26F program blew away those returns by 538%. Some 26F programs even grant investors access to companies they wouldn't otherwise normally be able to touch. 26F programs can also exert enough muscle to execute buy-ins on the types of investments that legends are made of. If you're familiar with Berkshire Hathaway's Class A shares, then you know the chances of an average investor coming within a country mile of those things is nearly non-existent. When Berkshire Hathaway IPO'd, Class A shares were worth $19 a piece. Today, they're worth over $217,000. That's a return of 1,142,005%. What if there had been a way to benefit from Berkshire's Class A shares back then? Or how about even today? Well, there is. There's a 26F program that can get you in on the action. If you're retired or near retirement, 26F programs are the solution you have been seeking. Tim Marsden spent over 3 decades as a firefighter in Los Angeles. It's a job most people would never imagine could allow somebody to retire a millionaire. But Tim wisely enrolled in a retirement plan that took advantage of 26F programs, and it paid him a lump sum of $996,162. Even better, Tim will also be paid over $17,000 a month for the rest of his life. That's enough to cover the mortgage for a vacation home in Hawaii, a fishing boat, with enough left over for a country club membership. Not too bad for a blue-collar hero who raced into burning buildings to save lives. Now, I think you'd agree dentists make a pretty good living, and Les Himmel was one of the finest in Illinois. But the 26F program that he enrolled in through his retirement plan is what really actually allows him to truly enjoy a 7-figure retirement. He's making an average of $47,000 a month in income. It would take a lot of root canals and teeth cleanings to equal that kind of payday. Now, I want to stress this next point. You don't have to be rich to enroll in a 26F program. 26F programs work whether you have $500, $5,000, $50,000, or even $5 million to your name. To prove this, I've already begun showing my readers how they could tap into 26F programs. To this date, if they had an average retirement account and invested, they would have been able to make $68,870. And that's just from one 26F program. Think about what you would do with an extra $68,000. It could mean a restaurant-grade remodel of your kitchen, or a down payment on the beach house for family vacations, or even picking up a 1960s Stingray Corvette to restore. These are choices you could be able to make thanks to 26F programs. And I should mention, this $68,000 is only the beginning. I believe these profits could soar 10 or even 20 times higher. Consider the story of Nestle from a few years back. Between October of 2012 and August of 2013, Nestle's stock only rose 0.67%. On the other hand, a 26F program that invested in Nestle blew it away by 1,212%. Now, of course, 1,212% is an exceptional example. Opportunities like that don't happen every day. But here's the thing, even a fraction of that return can radically boost your wealth. So how do you enroll in a 26F program? Back in the early days in the 1930s, all someone had to do was fill out a simple form and make an initial investment. It was truly that simple. But today, it's even simpler. Thanks to modern technology, you can enroll with nothing more than a few mouse clicks. You can even do it through your IRA or your 401k. You can put in one cash injection and sit back. Many 26F programs even allow you to automatically contribute a little bit of cash every month or every week. This can all be done very quickly and cheaply. In fact, you can enroll in many 26F programs with as little as $100, sometimes even less. There's a 26F program for everyone. Although some have been created for wealthy investors, the vast majority of 26F programs have no special net worth requirements. Dave Ramsey is one of the smartest minds in personal finance. He's written numerous New York Times bestsellers, and guess what? He's also a big believer in 26F programs. Dave Ramsey says you could become a millionaire by investing as little as $35 a week into one of them. But don't worry, if you don't know where to begin, I've analyzed the best 26F programs available today. And I've filtered my analysis down to my top 10 choices. They're dialed into major public companies in the energy, finance, technology sectors, as well as the pre-IPO hotshots that are on everybody's must-have list. I've already recommended my readers use a 26F program that's allowed them to grab as much as $68,000. But I've also crunched the numbers on some that, depending on your initial investment, could deliver six-figure lump sums, plus equally aggressive monthly income payouts. In a few moments, I'm going to give you details on how you can receive this thorough research. This will help you decide if this is the right investment for you. I'll share which financial institutions or banks are running them, and from then on, instead of buying individual stocks on the open market, you'll have the opportunity to enroll in these special 26F programs where the rewards could be much greater. Since last January, the share price of Kimberly-Clark has risen 4.74%, but a 26F program that bought into Kimberly-Clark whipped those returns by 295%. GM did even better. During that same time, its stock barely moved the needle, registering a pathetic 0.78% gains. The 26F program tied to GM decimated the stock's gains by 1,196%. So now you're probably asking, what risks are involved with 26F programs? As I said earlier, 26F programs are not government-run retirement programs where payouts are guaranteed. But these days, do you trust the government with your retirement money? I don't. Fortunately, 26F programs are not just for retirees. They aren't traditional in any sense. In fact, they're 100% unconventional, and that's what makes them so very exciting. However, like every investment, there are risks. Since most 26F programs are tied to stocks or private companies, if their value drops, the value of your 26F holdings can too. But that isn't always the case. Look at tech heavyweight Google, for example. From early February to last July, its stock fell about 6%. But the value of a 26F program funding Google rose over 8%. I can't speak for you, but I'll take 8% gains over 6% loss any day of the week. And you know what else helps limit your downside? Let me ask you something. Would you like to earn more income? Of course you would. CDs are paying squat. And annuities aren't the answer either. They're riddled with fees, fees from commissions, underwriting fees, maybe even some management fees mixed in for good measure too. If anything, annuities are robbing you of your hard-earned income. Today, there's simply a lack of big-time income choices for Americans, but there is one place they can turn: to Wall Street's best-kept secret, 26F programs. They're as close as it gets to set it and forget it monthly income. No more relying on that Social Security check. No more waiting around for those paltry quarterly dividends from blue chip stocks. With most 26F programs, you can get big monthly income delivered to your mailbox or even electronically deposited to your bank account. It is super simple to do, and it's just a couple of lines to fill out on a form. But those couple of lines could literally change your financial destiny. Take Donna and Dave Rodriguez, for example. They spent their lives as teachers in Boston. As they tell it, a teacher's pay is mediocre compared to what their friends are earning in the private sector. Their friends are retiring with Social Security and large investment accounts. The Rodriguezes are smart with their money. They have no mortgage, no credit card debts, no car payments, but they also have a big secret. The Rodriguez retirement plan takes advantage of 26F programs, and they will be receiving $10,000 a month from it. Thanks to their big investment secret, they feel like royalty because they are millionaires. Now, I should also mention, thanks to the Rodriguez 26F program, that $10,000 a month is tax-free. And here's another great perk. Each financial institution calculates what your 26F program holdings are worth every day of the year, 365 days a year. And most 26F programs include a legal guarantee that the issuer must buy back the entire stake at any time. Look at Wall Street darling Facebook when it was still private. If you were one of Facebook's pre-IPO investors, you could have been sitting on a fortune with nobody else to sell your shares to. Think about this for a second. Back in May of 2005, Facebook was valued at $100 million. By January of 2008, $15 billion. January 2011, that number hit $50 billion. That's a rise of 49,900%. It's the equivalent of transforming $500 into $250,000. But here's the thing. Facebook wouldn't end up going public for another 15 months. So let's assume you were one of those lucky souls who were given the chance to invest directly prior to its IPO. Well, there was no telling how long you'd have to wait to earn your king's ransom. However, a 26F program did exist that was able to buy into Facebook long before it debuted on the NASDAQ, and you could have cashed out whenever you liked. That's the beauty of some of these 26F programs. It doesn't matter which one you're enrolled in or which bank or financial institution you enrolled with. The day you want to sell, the issuer has a legal obligation to buy your 26F holdings back from you at the current value of your investment, not a penny less. You don't get that kind of benefit from stocks, business development corporations, or ETFs, or any other form of investment. Over a recent 5-month stretch, McDonald's stock rose 4.73%. But a 26F program tied to McDonald's did 264% better. A 26F program that bought into Microsoft outperformed Bill Gates' shares by 597% this year. Go back to the period between September 2011 and December 2014 when Coca-Cola was on a tear. Its stock spiked 24%. But you know what? That was chump change compared to a 26F program that beat it by another 194%. McDonald's, Microsoft, Coca-Cola, whenever you wanted to sell your stake in these 26F programs, the money was yours. All you had to do was request it. That whenever you want it guarantee isn't even in play with the corporate bonds that are providing funding to these companies. Simply put, 26F programs give investors the chance to rewrite their financial destinies. Mark Peltz spent 27 years on the police force. He, like so many others in blue, put his life on the line every single day. Unfortunately, Mark's career as a police officer on its own does not allow someone to join the ranks of the wealthiest 1%. But his retirement plan did because it was tapped into 26F programs. It first paid him over $920,000 in one fat lump sum, and it's going to keep paying him over $17,000 a month during his retirement. But it still gets better. Are you tired of cutting big checks to the IRS every year? Well, I got some good news for you. 26F programs can also be used as 100% legal tax havens. Back in FDR's day, capital gains could be taxed at 39%. So common sense tells you that with all the other dangers of another market crash, even with the potential for unheard of profits, That tax rate would scare off the private money necessary for funding these companies. Fortunately, 26F programs offer a special exemption. No taxes at all as long as you keep it with the issuer. And when you do sell, it falls under simple capital gains, which in many cases will still be 0%. You can also use a 26F program to deduct up to 50% of your adjusted income from your taxes. Now, these are just some of the many different tax benefits in play with 26F programs. And I believe this is why the federal government is implementing the retirement blackout. Their intentions are laid out for all to see in Title 29 of the U.S. Labor Code. The federal government is taking these extreme measures to protect federal taxing power. So what happens after April 10th, 2017, when the retirement blackout goes into effect? For those who don't take matters into their own hands, for those who don't learn everything they can about these 26F programs, I fear they will never take advantage of them. The blackout could cause them to miss out on $68,870. Heck, this retirement blackout could cause them to miss out on 10 or even 20 times that amount of money. You see, the federal government looks at 26F programs as holdovers from another time. They certainly don't want everyday Americans utilizing something so powerful with so many tax benefits. After all, they do have a $19 trillion federal debt tab to pay off. The good news is the clock hasn't struck midnight on April 10th yet, and there is still time to act before the blackout. That means, armed with the right information, you can take part in 26F programs that are perfect for you. You'll have the opportunity to grab big monthly income, and from then on, you'll be able to cash out whenever you want, and even enroll in additional 26F programs. Moreover, you'll be protected from the retirement blackout for the rest of your life. Now, if you're excited, that's good. You should be. You're moments away from learning how you can use 26F programs to achieve full financial freedom, just like Jennifer Solson. She's become a master of integrating 26F programs into her investment strategy. Jennifer was able to rid herself of debt before her 40th birthday, and she's built a net worth of over $1 million. During my 34 years in the markets, I've seen more than my fair share of the richest 1% put 26F programs to work, but nothing makes me happier than seeing everyday folks use them to join the ranks of the 1%, and I'd like to help you. I've created a special investment report that will give you all the research and guidance you need to capitalize on this powerful wealth builder. And I'd like to send it to you for free. You won't even have to pay for shipping. It's called Unleashing the Power of 26F Programs, the top 10 choices for your golden retirement. My team and I have spent thousands of hours combing through every 26F program available today. Let me tell you something. This was an exhaustive undertaking. We put their financials under a magnifying glass. We mapped out their complete upside potential. We identified any downside risk. What's in this special report is our top 10 choices. Imagine earning the type of monthly income that can deliver you the retirement of your dreams. I'm talking $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 every single month. And on top of that, being handed a lump sum payout of $68,000, $250,000, even $400,000 or more. There is nothing like this out there. If you're hoping to retire one day, unleashing the power of 26F programs could help you make that a reality. And if you're already retired, it could be the secret to boosting your net worth into the 7 figures. Listen to this. You can get a stake in the hottest private IPO companies on the planet before they IPO. I've got a 26F program in this report that's had a $162 million investment in Uber, $90 million in Airbnb, $89 million in Dropbox, and $43 million in Elon Musk's SpaceX. It even was dialed into Facebook before its IPO. Now remember, Facebook's value surged 49,900% while it was still private. That's the equivalent of transforming $500 into $250,000. If you want a chance at experiencing that kind of run firsthand, this 26F is your ticket. But I'm just getting started. I've also got the energy industry's most explosive 26F program in this report. It's funding a company that is outperforming the market by over 100% this year. In fact, they just received a 10-year, $900 million contract with the U.S. Department of Energy Security. Next, I'm going to show you how you could get paid an average of $5,856 a month for the next 10 years. It's from a very unique 26F program that's backing an e-commerce juggernaut. You are definitely going to want to consider this one. In this report, I'm also going to let you in on a little secret. It's one you won't hear on the financial TV shows. Airlines have quietly become one of the most lucrative investments around. Cheap oil has meant lower costs and bigger profits for this industry. And the way to get the most from all this is through a 26F program that's already delivered a 600% peak gain to enrollees since inception. This one has got massive potential. Now, I am absolutely unapologetically bullish on tech, but I'm even more bullish on a special 26F program that's becoming a major player in Silicon Valley. This is your chance to fund a leader in the virtual reality revolution. It's estimated this will become a $162 billion market, and this particular 26F program is already beginning to reap the rewards. In no time whatsoever, it has created peak profits of over 188% for enrollees. The latest data shows the typical household salary is around $52,000 a year. But, as I mentioned earlier, my top 26F program recommendation would have made an average American $68,870. This, however, is just the beginning. The sky is the limit with this one. And I'm just scratching the surface of what's in this report. Big income plays, more pre-IPO windfalls, blue chip Hall of Famers, and so much more. I have targeted 26F programs for all of them. And with each opportunity, I will give you step-by-step instructions for getting in, which banks and financial institutions are running them, any eligibility requirements, although most have none, a walkthrough of how to fund it online, and how you can customize the 26F programs that allow you to collect enormous monthly income. This is all very easy. Most of the 26F programs in this special report take less than 5 minutes to enroll in. You don't need a lot of money either. In many cases, you can get started for as little as $100. In fact, you can make one investment or schedule deposits on a custom timeline. Unleashing the power of 26F programs is comprehensive, and it could help put you on the fast track to retirement you've rightfully earned. When I originally completed this report, I intended to sell it for $149. After all, it took my team and I a lot of time and money to put it together. Plus, when you're talking about something that could provide a life-changing boost to current or future retirees' net worth, on top of aggressive monthly income, $149 is an absolute steal. However, I realized that in order to help as many people as I possibly can, I've got to go that extra mile. I've spent 34 years in navigating global markets, and I've been recognized as one of the very few people who accurately predicted the bursting of the dot-com bubble and the recession. When Forbes magazine described me as a business visionary, I was honored. What gets me going in the morning, what gets me out of bed, what gives me the greatest sense of pride is helping everyday folks who do not have an army of Ivy League financial advisors on speed dial, which is why I'd like to send you Unleashing the Power of 26F programs for free today. In fact, it's just one piece of something much bigger I've actually put together for you. It's called the 7-Figure Retirement Action Plan. It contains 5 unique resources, each of which is designed to provide the secrets to living your golden years like a millionaire. The second special report in this package is called Earn a Raise in Your Retirement, 3 Unique Income Investments That Could Pay You More Than Your Salary. 26F programs are without question one of the greatest income generators I've ever seen. But the vast majority of self-made millionaires have at least 3 income streams that they're constantly generating money. It could be beachfront real estate, multifamily properties, maybe businesses like car washes. The thing is, these options all cost a lot of money, and each of them comes with enormous risks. However, you can get all of the benefits of these income streams by turning to Wall Street. In Earn a Raise in Your Retirement, I'll share with you President Reagan's venture capital program. This could make you an average of $2,250 a month or more. During the stagflation of the early 1980s, Washington, D.C. created an unconventional security that allows regular investors to help fund promising private startups. You could earn as much as $1,195 a month by backing a special Texas land deal. This location is already a busy hub for U.S. military equipment, grain, and steel. I've uncovered a way for you to invest in this land. This gives you the chance to earn a steady stream of tax-free income. I'm going to show you how to collect rent from today's top tech firms. It allows you to profit from aggressive monthly rent payments from companies like Google, Intel, and even Apple. This could soon put at least $4,000 a month in your account. With Unleashing the Power of 26F programs and Earn a Raise in Your Retirement, you'll be able to tap into a collection of unconventional income streams. And this next special report could put you in a position to collect a series of historic windfalls. It's called the 10,000% Secret, 5 tiny stocks that are poised for explosive returns. I believe that every investor who is looking to quickly achieve a 7-figure retirement should have a small amount of their capital spread across highly speculative microcap stocks. Sometimes they trade for pennies, maybe it's $1 or $5 a share. No doubt about it, they're certainly riskier than blue chips, but their upside potential is exponentially greater. Look at furniture giant Pier 1 Imports. Way back when, it started as a microcap. Then it rose as much as 18,500%, making a fortune for those who publish shares. Weight loss company Medifast and Monster were also microcaps that would go on to deliver 9,900% and 10,000% windfalls respectively. In the 10,000% secret, I will give you the exciting details on a cutting-edge biometrics company, think fingerprints and facial recognition here. It currently trades for around $5 a share. I will also reveal a medical startup for smokers with an amazing nicotine modulation device. Its stock is priced under $2 a share at the moment. I've also got the scoop on a future biotech heavyweight. It has a growing patent portfolio related to the miraculous process for growing synthetic human tissue. Today, this small stock trades for around $4 a share. This is just a snapshot of what you'll receive in the 10,000% secret. And in the next special report, we're going to target an area of the market that famous investors like George Soros and the legendary Jim Rogers have dipped into for decades, creating massive fortunes. It's called the new way to buy gold, 3 under-the-radar investments for this precious metal. I am by no means a gold bug, but given some very predictable historical patterns, I believe that a massive bull run could be imminent. So it would be wise to add this precious metal to your portfolio as soon as possible. But here's the thing, not all gold investments are created equal. Just buying gold on the open market can mean overpaying by 5%, 10%, and more just for dealer markups. And physical gold in shops can be overpriced by as much as 300%. But you won't have to worry about any of this. In the new way to buy gold, I reveal how you can capitalize on an exclusive deal to acquire gold bullion and coins at wholesale rates. I've also included an investment that allows you to earn 3 times the profits from gold. And finally, I'm going to recommend you invest in the tiny miner that's unearthed a $5.2 billion Peruvian treasure trove. The 7-figure retirement action plan could help you become a millionaire in your golden years and in the years leading up to them as well. That's the good news, but here's the bad news. The more you make, the more the IRS will try to take that away from you. So I've created a final special report that's going to help protect you. It's called IRS Proof Your Life, the ultimate blueprint for keeping Uncle Sam's hands off your money. This is by far the most comprehensive resource ever created for defending your wealth from overtaxation. It will hand you the #1 secret for avoiding an IRS audit and pocketing an extra $1,860. The invisible bank account that can hide $100,000 of your income. I'm also going to show you how to legally skirt a $1,039 insurance tax that you could owe this year. And there's also a tactic in this report that could allow you to double your home deduction this year and every year for the rest of your life. Plus, you'll discover how to slash your dividend taxes by 60%. And I've even pinpointed a powerful calendar loophole that can add $6,000 to your retirement account. There's so much in this report, it would take me all day to cover everything. The total value of unleashed power of 26F programs, earn a raise in your retirement, the 10,000% secret, the new way to buy gold, and IRS Proof Your Life is easily $425. Heck, it's probably worth 5 to 10 times that. But that doesn't matter, because if you are one of the first 500 people to step forward today, the 7-figure retirement action plan can be yours for free. However, I don't view this as a one-and-done relationship. I'm in this for the long haul. I want to work together with you for years. You deserve the opportunity to live a 7-figure retirement. Nothing less is acceptable. And to execute this mission to perfection, I have one more surprise. Along with the 7-figure retirement action plan, I'm also including a risk-free trial to my Money Map report. I launched this publication so folks just like you could take advantage of the simplest secret the wealthiest 1% use to boost their net worth. The richest investors identify an exploding trend and they target the stocks primed to capitalize on that trend. It's common sense and it's easy to understand, and it's how the rich get richer. My team and I here at Money Morning across the board have been using this simple secret to deliver one windfall after another to those who follow our research. Look at Pharmacyclics and Celldex Therapeutics, Ram Energy, Ambarilla, and Galapagos, as well as Netchin Mobile, Micron Technology, Westport Innovations. Some of these have hit peak gains that have outperformed even our most aggressive expectations, while others are still open and climbing. As a member of the Money Map Report, every month you will receive a new edition of our report delivered to both your email inbox and your mailbox. Every edition will explore two powerful trends. And more importantly, I will reveal in every issue two lucrative opportunities that give you the chance to capitalize on these trends. So that's 24 investment recommendations a year. Stopping cybercrime is a perfect example of this. According to Forbes, the rise of digital hackers breaking into major corporations and government agencies is projected to cost at least $2.1 trillion in damage. That is why a lot of money is now flooding into small firms who are developing, not surprisingly, cyber defense systems. So in a recent edition of the Money Map Report, I recommended a true innovator in this field. Using machine learning, their software is able to decipher new cyber attacks in real time. And get this, already Microsoft, Wells Fargo, Walt Disney, Netflix, NASDAQ, and Raytheon are turning to the company I recommended. In other recent editions of the Money Map Report, I've uncovered instability at global central banks. I've tracked the unstoppable march towards driverless cars and revealed how members could buy into a retirement warranty investment that is on track to pay out double every 3 years. Now, along with the monthly editions of the Money Map Report, every week you will receive the Money Map Reporter. This is a complete rundown of the important events that have taken place within our current recommendations. And more importantly, whenever it's time to close out one of our investment opportunities, I will alert you with a real-time sell alert. With Seattle Genetics, it only took 63 days for me to issue a sell alert that gave readers the opportunity to capture a 100% gain. It only took about 2 months to grab 100% on a ProShares ETF that shorted treasuries. And whether it's 303% on Altria, 205% on Raytheon, or even 100% on American Waterworks, rest assured, when it's time to cash out, that sell alert will arrive promptly. Your subscription also includes 24/7 access to a members-only website. And if you ever have any questions whatsoever, my VIP concierge service will be ready to help you with your membership. I can tell you that the major financial institutions would pay tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for this level of research. But this is not for them, it's for you, which is why the regular price for a 1-year subscription to the Money Map Report is $299. This way, anyone who is looking to achieve the 7-figure retirement they've always dreamed of can afford it. However, if you're one of the first 500 people to step forward today, I will authorize the biggest discount I've ever allowed on your Money Map Report subscription. Forget 50%, 60%, 70%, or even 80% off. I'm going to make you an offer that is too good to refuse. Plus, I'm going to send you the 7-figure retirement action plan for free, which includes Unleashing the Power 26F programs, plus 4 additional must-have retirement resources. But frankly, even for those who do pay full price, let me tell you something. They're finding my research to be one of the best investments they'll ever make. I love opening up my inbox and reading how members are using my research to retire earlier than they ever believed was possible. Some are telling me how they're making thousands of dollars right out of the gate, and that is music to my ears. Because there is no better way to help you jumpstart your 7-figure retirement goals than by putting real money in your account right away. When members tell me they've made $40,000 or $50,000, I know my work has helped changing their lives. And for those who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year or even over $1 million, I know those folks are well on their way to living a golden retirement. And I want you to be my next success story. So here's what I'm going to do. If you're one of the first 500 people to accept this invitation today, I will send you the 7-figure retirement action plan for free. And I'll authorize a discount off your Money Map Report subscription that is so big, you'll literally only pay pennies a day. Click the button below this video and you'll see what a great deal this is. Even at this rock bottom rate, I want you to feel confident that this is money well spent. So you know what? I'm including a 60-day, 100% money back guarantee. And regardless of your decision, I insist that you keep the 7-figure retirement action plan as my way of saying thank you. Listen, we're in a race against time. April 10th is not that far away. The government's retirement blackout will soon go into effect. And every day you are not enrolled in a 26F program is one more day that you are not getting the chance to reap the immense rewards. So click the button below to reserve the 7-figure retirement action plan and the money map report for literally pennies a day. And remember, I can only make this offer available to the first 500 people who step forward today. I highly doubt this will be available in a few hours, much less tomorrow. I look forward to us working together for years to come. I'm Keith Fitzgerald. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.